Today, we're diving into the absolutely wild story of cricket. Seriously, how did it go from this quiet little pastime in the English countryside to a multi-billion-dollar global spectacle? It's a journey that involves empires, rebellion, and a complete reinvention of the game itself.
So let's just start with a number, shall we? $5.3 billion. That's the brand value of the Indian Premier League, the IPL, after just 10 seasons. That's a figure that puts it right up there with some of the biggest sports leagues on the entire planet.
And get this, the TV rights for just 5 years of the IPL, they sold for a mind-boggling $2.5 billion. So yeah, this is way more than just a sport now. It's an absolute commercial juggernaut.
Which brings us to the big question, right? How on earth did we get here? How did a game once played by shepherds on a village green turn into this? This massive, high-stakes, floodlit entertainment machine. Well, that's the story we're going to unravel today. To really get it, we have to go back, way, way back, to its super humble beginnings in 16th century England. Just try to picture it. The fields were basically common lands, sometimes shared with grazing sheep. The gear was as basic as it gets. We're talking handmade balls of cloth or leather and bats that looked a lot more like hockey sticks. And the rules? They were totally informal, changing from one village to the next. It was less of a sport, really, and more of a community get-together. The change is just staggering. We've gone from these loosey-goosey local rules to 42 official laws, guarded by the super prestigious Marylebone Cricket Club. We went from handmade hockey sticks to bats that are basically pieces of high-tech engineering, and from those village greens to these massive global stadiums broadcast to billions. It's like a different universe. So, how did this little English game even leave the village? Well, it had a very powerful ride, the British Empire.
Now, for a game to travel the world, you need everyone to be playing by the same rules, right? And that started to happen in the 18th century. In 1744, the first laws were actually written down. By 1774, we get key rules we still use today, like leg before wicket. And then, in 1787, the MCC becomes the official guardian of those laws. That standardization was basically cricket's passport to go global.
From there, the game pretty much just followed the flag. It was brought to India, to the West Indies, to North America, and it showed up in Australia almost as soon as colonization kicked off.
But here's the thing, cricket was never just a game. The British saw it as a tool, a way to export their values, this so-called games ethic of fair play and discipline. But, and this is the crucial part, it became a double-edged sword. People in the colonies didn't just adopt the game, they made it their own. It became this incredible stage for them to challenge their rulers and, in the process, build powerful new national identities.
And for almost 200 years, that imperial model was cricket. But then, in the 1970s, one guy came along and just blew the whole thing up. This was the Packer Revolution.
So by the 70s, television is becoming this huge force in culture. But the guys running cricket, they were, let's just say, very traditional. They were slow, and they were completely missing the massive commercial opportunity that was staring them right in the face. They were kind of stuck in the past. And then came Kerry Packer, an Australian media tycoon. He got so frustrated with the old guard that in 1977, he just created his own breakaway league, World Series Cricket. It was made from the ground up for TV. He secretly signed all the world's best players, put them in colorful uniforms, which the traditionalists hated, calling them pajamas, and had them play exciting games at night under massive floodlights. And this quote just nails Packer's motivation. He looked at cricket's leadership and saw, in his words, an establishment caught in a time warp. He saw a global sport being run like a small amateur club, and he knew it was bad for the game, and of course, bad for his own business interests. So he decided if they wouldn't modernize it, he would do it himself.
Packer's revolution really was the spark that lit the fuse. First, he proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that TV and cricket were a potential goldmine. And second, that created a demand for an even faster, more TV-friendly version of the game. The result? The invention of the 2020 format, a complete action-packed game all wrapped up in just 3 hours. It was the final piece of the puzzle.
Which brings us right back to where we started, to those billions of dollars and to the new center of the cricketing universe, the Indian Premier League.
Honestly, the founders of the IPL were geniuses. They took Terry Packer's entire playbook, the focus on TV rights, star players, big money, city-based teams, and they paired it with the perfect product, that supercharged T20 format. It was just a recipe for explosive success.
And the result of that success? Well, as the historian Boria Majumdar puts it, the nerve center of cricket completely and decisively shifted from England and Australia to the Indian subcontinent.
And you gotta understand, this wasn't just a business move, it was a massive historical shift. A lot of people see the rise of the IPL as the decolonization of cricket. A game that was once used to project imperial power now has its financial and spiritual home in a former colony. The entire power dynamic has been flipped on its head.
I mean, the money is just mind-blowing. If you look at the revenue generated for every single match, the IPL is right up there with giants like the NFL in America, and it blows past many other huge leagues. There's no debate about it anymore. It's a global sporting superpower.
So, after this unbelievable journey, from a quiet village green to a global franchise spectacle, it leaves us with one last big question. Has the game's original community soul been sold off for commercial spectacle, or has the heart of the game just been reclaimed by the people who now love it the most? It's definitely something to think about.